you know what that was, comment that song. What's up, Abinators? It's October, and I haven't made this video yet. This is the music of my summer. I wanted to make this video as soon as summer ended because I realized this was a big summer for music in my life. There was a lot of development and a lot of banger albums that were found. So, I'm going to tell them all to you today. We got 5 albums today. For the first one, Hail to the Thief by Radiohead. This album has a very special place in my heart from last summer. Okay, last summer, my class went on a trip to Scotland and England, and that was the first time I had listened to this album, and I actually bought this in a record store in Scotland 2023. Can you see? So, this album I listened to that entire week that we were gone on that trip, like 3 times a day, because it's so good. And I do think that there are better Radiohead albums. That is true. I think that OK Computer and In Rainbows are probably just technically better albums than Hail to the Thief. But this is my favorite. Hail to the Thief is my favorite. I feel like it's very haunting, and I feel like the melodies are beautiful and just very creative with the blend of electronic and like electronic sounds and drum beats and like analog, I guess, for like real guitars and stuff. So this summer, I was reminiscing on that trip that we went on, and I was feeling so emotional that it had been an entire year since that trip, because that trip was a very special point in my life. So I went and I listened to this album a lot again, summer of 2024. And I think that I can't really pick favorites, because there's like a lot. But if I had to pick 3 favorites, I would say 2 + 2 = 5, because it's a banger. Where I End and You Begin, because it's a banger. And also, probably Punch Up at a Wedding. So, there's some bangers. There's some bangers on that album. And I feel like also songs such as like maybe Backdrifts or Scatterbrain, I don't feel like are like really outstanding songs, but they just serve the album so well. So, the album, it's not a 10, but it's close. The next album, Collide with the Sky by Pierce the Veil. I don't have the disc, but I want it. Pierce the Veil I've heard of like many times, but I've never listened to them because I didn't think that like hardcore, post-hardcore, post-punk, emo, like metalcore type music is something that I'd be interested in. But I was pleasantly surprised when I listened to Collide with the Sky. I think it was just shocking to me. The production was great. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of soul in that album. A lot of creativity with the songwriting, and the guitars are just insane, might I say. And I think that the creativity is just off the charts, and it was a banger album. I do believe it's a 10. I think it's like it's good. There's only one skip in my opinion. Props and Mayhem. I just think that song is good, but it's like it's got a basic chord progression, I feel like, and the only one that I would skip, but I still listen to it anyways. My favorites from that album, of course, I like The First Punch is really good. I like Hold On Till May, and I like King for a Day. King for a Day is just, I mean, it's a banger. Yeah, I think I've definitely heard the chorus of that song before, but then I listened to it the first time, and I was just like, my mind was blown, because it was so much better than I could have imagined. So, that, I think, is a banger album. I listened to that this summer when I worked at the pool, because it's really good. Okay, next in line, the third album of my summer. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Let's see. Petrodragonic Apocalypse, or Dawn of Eternal Night, an annihilation of planet Earth, and the beginning of merciless damnation. This album, much like Collide with the Sky, Pierce the Veil, blew my mind about how I didn't think that I would enjoy this kind of music. This one is a very, very heavy metal album, and like kind of thrashy, kind of a little bit shreddy, but it's also so experimental and weird because King Gizzard uses a lot of polyrhythms and weird time signatures that they don't even stop in their metal album. Like this insane, fast-paced, crazy metal album, they're still doing all the weird stuff. So I love King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, so my love of the band kind of transformed into my love of like this style of music as well, because it's good. It's good. Yeah. So my favorite songs from this album, I would say Converge, Supercell, and Gila Monster. And I actually saw King Gizzard this summer, and they played Converge, which was banger. They actually played quite a few songs from this album. I think their metal outfit was the best that day. It was really good. And songs like Converge and Gila Monster really is what made me buy the ticket. Even though I didn't get to see them, I knew that those songs were bangers, and I was like, I need to go see that. So, this album, I also listened to while working at the pool, because, I couldn't get it out of my head. I was just listening to it for, days on end. That was Converge. So, this album, it's gotta be one of my favorite albums, but personally, I feel like a metal album can never be in my top 5. Not because of anything against metal. It's just that Hail to the Thief is in my top 5 because it's beautiful. And I think that metal can be beautiful, but just not, it doesn't hit the same way. I absolutely love these songs, and I probably listen to these just as much as I listen to Hail to the Thief, but I don't think a metal album could be in my top 5 of all time. But it was really good. the fourth album that I listened to this summer the most. Here's where we get controversial. The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me by Brand New. This band is canceled big time. I didn't know that when I bought this album. I found it at the record store in my town, and I was like, damn, I've seen that album cover before. Like, I gotta buy this album because it's probably really good. And it was really, really good. The music is just like spectacular. It's like emo. It's like really emo, and like the songwriting is great, and there's so much I feel a lot of soul put into this album as well. And I just didn't like the band is canceled so bad that people don't listen to them anymore. But I like didn't know that before until I had already fell in love with this album. So there's nothing I can do about that now. It's just really good. Like, you know that. So, my favorite from this album, favorites, probably Millstone, De Gauzer, and Archers. And I would say this summer, I didn't really have a specific, like, time or location that I listened to this album. Kind of bled into the start of cross-country season that I kind of really started, I don't know, that I could place that album. But songs are just bangers. And I see why it's in a lot of people's top songs of all time. For the last album, we're gonna go Clancy by 21 Pilots. Now, there's a lot of hate from 21 Pilots, or to 21 Pilots, for being cringe. People say they're cringe. Now, I just like him. I just really like him. Vessel was good. Blurryface was like pretty good. Trench was like awesome. And they're just, very special to me. So Clancy, when it came out, I was like, oh, new album? And also, it looks like badass too. I'm sorry. The costumes are really cool. And it was weird because the first time I listened to this album, like, it didn't seem that special, I actually felt like they were doing too much. I was like, Josh Dunn is playing way too much on the drums, like, just settle down a little bit. And then, like, the second time I listened to the album, I, like, that wasn't a thought anymore. It was just really good. And this one, I actually have a really hard time picking songs that are my favorites because I think they're all of the same quality, just really good. Although, like, The Craving and Lavish do kind of stand, set away from every other song, in my opinion. Just because The Craving is just quiet, at least on the album version, Jenna's version. And then Lavish, they just kind of, it's a different style, there's and I just saw this tour. I just saw that show like 3 days ago, the Clancy tour, and it was really, really good. But like, I can't tell my friends that because it's like, oh my god, you listen to 21 Pilots? No, I don't. I'm really emo. I listen to Pierce the Veil, bro. Ah. It's, it's whatever. My favorites from this album, I would say, I like Vignette, Backslide, and Overcompensate. Overcompensate, I remember when that came out. I listened to that in history class with my friend Judah. And there's the beat switch in it, and I was just like, oh, it was crazy. But, that's Vignette, and that banger. What can I say? I listened to this album while I was working at my friend Joey's farm this summer. I was like weed whacking, like a lot, and like this album, just every single day for like 3 weeks straight was just that album, and it was good. So, a recap. Abe's summer. What albums did he listen to? He listened to Radiohead, Hail to the Thief, Collide with the Sky, Petrodragonic Apocalypse, The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me, and Clancy. I hope you enjoy. See ya.